interested in something that provokes a question in me. You know, I feel like that is the most important. Discuss it with your friends. Like, did you watch it with any of your friends or anybody you know?
Yeah, yeah. Oh yeah.
Was there? Because I'm so curious about what those discussions look and sound like. You know, like, I mean, I'm seeing it for the first time on a screen tonight. I've never seen it on a movie screen.
Well, there's a lot of different themes in this movie, and
yes,
and you know, without giving anything major away, I think I can safely say one of the themes that came up in discussion was this idea of if you witness something horrible happen, and does that automatically make you part of the horrific event, the crime? Do you have a responsibility to do something? Do you not have a responsibility? So I think that was a very interesting conversation topic that has come from watching this movie.
Well, that was James's goal, so it's a beautiful thing to hear you say that, you know. And yeah, like, are you complicit? And in a weird way, like where we live now and the time we're in right now, we sort of all are complicit in some kind of treachery, right? Like, I was listening to a podcast last night between Sam Harris, and he had a guest on who runs this effective altruism company. I won't take us too far away from what we're talking about, but Sam Harris described Western civilization as we know it, like, you know, and developed countries, as he described us as the fancy lifeboat. Like, in a weird way, they were talking about automating their charity. So a lot of wealthier guys, men and women, will automate like 5 to 10% of their money. So they don't even have to think about it. They just 5 to 10% of their wealth is always going out to, you know, those in need. And it was a fascinating interview, but like this idea of that right now, even just by being a person, like, you know, like, having been to some certain countries in the world, like I've been to, you know, I spent a fair amount of time in Uganda with the South Sudanese refugees that were coming in, you know, through the Democratic Republic of Congo, you know, like, there's, like my T-shirt feels like a luxury, like, you know, the fact that I can eat a couple of meals a day feels like a luxury, you know, and it's an interesting question that the movie evokes, is like, you know, are we bystanders? Are we complicit in the crimes that befall those that are less fortunate? You know?
Right. It's fascinating. I think this movie tackles a lot of interesting, controversial viewpoints depending on who you're talking to, and I think that's what's another great thing about this, is a lot of fans of yours can watch something that you're doing now, who will watch you in the originals, watch you in the Vampire Diaries, and can see you in this light and take on a whole new appreciation for the art you're putting out there in the world and the conversation that can come from it, you know?
Yeah, it's really interesting. When I was getting ready for the role, I posted something on Instagram where I was just basically Mandrake, and the amount of hate that I got for that, like, just like open. And what's crazy to me too is like something like 89 to 90% of my fan following are women, you know. That's just the data that I have. That's the statistic, right? And it's got to be relatively accurate, even if some of those are bots. And just the cruelty that I actually ended up removing the post because people were like just on a very superficial level. They're like, he looks terrible. What the fuck's happened to him? God, he looks so old. He looks like God. You know, I was like amazed. I was like, yeah, I was just sharing like another thing. And look, now I don't care because I want to promote the shit out of the film. But at that time, I couldn't say much about what was happening, you know. But it's really interesting. Like, people want you, you know, we often blame studios and networks for pulling the levers that keep us sort of typecast, but actually fans really want you to be the thing that you were before, you know, in a lot of ways. And I think, you know, they have to understand that this is a career, this is a life, and it does move on to the next place. And so for me, Mandrake was just a complete demolition of Elijah Michelson, and I think it does so rather successfully.
Yeah, no, that's what's cool. I mean, you want that in the artist that you like, and I think a lot of the followers watching today, the viewers, are going to see that character and be really impressed, and you know, to know that you have an appreciation for playing Elijah, of course, and those were years that were, you know, very meaningful to you, but that you also can evolve as a person and as an artist is huge. And for example, somebody like me, I never watched those series until COVID because I had time and I'm like, I need some shows, let me check it out. And we watched it and we loved it, but we loved the performances. I'm a 35-year-old dude in New York City, so I'm in a different mindset than, you know, when I was a younger fan of shows, right? So now my mindset's like, oh, what's this guy doing next? I want to see him flex a different tool, you know?
Lovely to hear, man. It's so encouraging.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's cool. And what I like about you is you strike me as somebody who puts 10,000% of himself into the jobs that you do. And you know, looking back at your time, I mean, I saw it in this film, of course, and I saw it when you were doing those shows. So when you look back at your time in the Vampire Diaries universe, what are you most proud of?
And there's a lot in what you just said. You know, when you said about the 10,000% thing, like it's such like that's reciprocated from the work, though. You know, like it's when you put yourself in, the harder you work, the more pleasurable it is, just for whatever reason. And I think I made a promise to myself a long time ago too. I always said, look, even if I'm in bullshit, I want to be good in bullshit. You know, by the way, I'm not calling the originals of Vampire Diaries, but I love that show. I'm saying, you know, as an actor, you're going to do stuff that isn't as highly praised as Coming Home in the Dark, you know, and isn't as uniquely. But you always want to be sort of have that work ethic, and I'm not asking you a question, but I want to kind of get to that because you triggered a few things while you were speaking.
Please.
You know, I was listening to this. I want to say it's like a Kazakhstani like weightlifter. No, he wasn't. He was oh goddamn it, where's he from? He was Russian anyway, weightlifter, but he had this like personal mantra that he used to say to himself, which he said, what did he say? Hard work, easy life. Sorry, yeah. I'm going to get this correct. Yeah, hard work, easy life. Easy work, hard life, I think is what he said. It was just, he just reduced it down to a very stoic kind of minimalist mantra, as I say. And I kind of like, I feel the same way. I feel like if you work really hard, then you get to enjoy it. Like people have been repeatedly asking me today, like, what was it like to shed that character when you left? Was it did you take it home with you? Was it difficult to be in that frame of mind and then to come home like it's something that you're carrying with you? Not the way it works for me. I work as hard as I can up until we shoot, and then you're sort of there's just the release. You know, you're releasing this thing, and it feels so good. You're finally getting to share it. It feels even in the darkest, most sinister, disturbing fucking scenes, it's incredibly good. Now, there was a question you asked at the end there, and I happen to have forgotten that. I'm sorry, and I feel like I've gone away from that.
No, I love it. I think that's when the most interesting conversation happens. I was asking what you're most proud of from playing that role.
From playing Mandrake, you mean?
From playing Elijah, and then from playing this role.
Oh, my proudest thing about the you know, my proudest thing about Elijah is kind of in lockstep with what I just said, which is that I'm proud that I always tried to make every scene I ever did in that show the best version of itself that it could, the best scene that it could be. I'm proudest of that. In terms of Mandrake, I'm proud. What am I most proud of? I'm just proud that what am I proud of in this film? I mean, there's so many things. Give me a second. Let me just think about that. Sorry.
Yeah, it's a big question, I know.
Yeah. I'm proudest that I was able to give this performance to a New Zealand film. That's really